WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Monday at 4:00, so it must be the Community Bell Show. Good afternoon. We are so glad you've chosen to join us on this lovely Monday afternoon in October. Who would have thought? I know my car thermometer said 86, but that cannot possibly be. It's October the 2nd. So I'm just going to think that there was something wrong with the car that I can't imagine. 80 something October 2nd in Detroit, in Michigan. What's going on here, everybody? But I like it. I'm not going to complain about it because I like warm weather. I know I've got friends who say to me, girl, you like that hot weather. Yes, I do. I do love it. It's okay with me. I can stay this way all year long. I'm okay with that. So, for all of those of you who are saying, oh my goodness, when is winter coming? I hope never. So, the season can come, the weather can stay. How's that? It can go down to maybe 60. I can live with that, or even 55, but that's it. So, all you folks who say, oh my goodness, I want to go skiing, well, you can go to Aspen. I know they've got cold weather there. You can go skiing in Aspen up in the mountains. Um, and there may be some places in Michigan, um, high up into the northern area, northern peninsula, that will have snow. And you can go up there if you want to and ski. But as for me and my house, we're gonna pray for warm weather all year long. I'm just saying it's okay with me. So thank you, Lord, for this 80 some degree weather on October 2nd. It's good for me. It's good because I can still play golf because you know that I do like to play golf. I'm not saying I'm the best golfer walking, but I like doing it. And it's okay. The weather allows me to do that. But I was scheduled to have an event on this coming Sunday, October the 8th, in the afternoon after church, everybody. I'll be at 8 o'clock service at New Prospects. Don't say anything. I'm going to be at church. But after that, my golf club, the T Set Ladies Golf Club, by the way, will be celebrating its 45th anniversary next year. And I know that many of you say that 45 years, what kind of Black women's golf club been around for 45 years? We have. We have. And so we'll be celebrating that next year, and you'll hear more about that then. However, we're having our end of the season golf event on this coming Sunday. And they're telling me it's going to be like 45 degrees. Something's wrong with that. How do I go from 86 on Monday to 45, 50 on Sunday? I don't like that. I just don't like that at all. So I'm praying that it will be at least 60 because that's my special temperature. That is my special temperature um, when we start playing golf. I don't play golf if it's less than 60 degrees. I just don't do it. So now I do have this wonderful golf cover to go over my golf cart. So I'll be able to put that on and put on some long johns and all of those special things and something around my neck and something on my head and some gloves, have on 2 gloves on that day. And then I'll try and be cordial and play. But I'm not liking golf at 50 degrees. That's not something I enjoy. And as I talk about golf, you know, I am a newcomer to golf, relatively speaking. I didn't start at a young age like some people did. I didn't start playing golf till I was almost 50. I was about 50 years old almost when I started playing golf. And it's interesting because and most of you know, I retired from Michigan Bell Telephone Company. Great spot. And as you notice, I say Michigan Bell because that's what it was when I started. That's all I know. I know it as Michigan Bell. I know you know it as Southwestern Bell, Ameritech, and all the, and now AT&T, all of that. But I knew it as Michigan Bell when I started. And we had golf leagues at Michigan Bell. And I had friends who took lessons and they learned to play. And I talked about them something off. Oh my goodness. I said to them, why are you out there in that hot sun trying to hit that little bitty white ball? What's wrong with you? And they looked at me like, "Oh, girl, it's so much fun. You ought to take lessons. You ought to come play with us." No, I'm not. I'm not going to be out there. You won't catch me on a golf course in the sun trying to hit a ball. Well, fast forward about 25 years, and lo and behold, who's out there trying to hit a golf ball? What moi? Yes, it was me. But interestingly enough, let me tell you what happened. And by that time, I had become a county commissioner. And I was at my office doing my work, and I was, and I looked up and I said, "Where's everybody? Nobody's here but me. What's going on?" And one of the staff people said, "Well, they're at the golf course." So what do you mean they're at the golf course? Well, they had some meetings out there. I said, "Really?" I said, "Huh, they're out at the golf course. I'm back here working. They're at the golf course cutting some deals. Okay, I can do that." So little old me, Only woman on the golf course. There were one, two, three women on the golf course at that time. I was one of three. I became the golfer of the women. I was the only one that played golf, but I said, okay, if men can go out there and play golf and cut some deals, I think I'm going to learn how to do that. And that's how I got to the golf course at 50 years old with plus. And it is the most wonderful game you guys will ever want to do. And I know you probably said, this lady's crazy. First, she says she's not going to be out there chasing this white ball. And then she says it's the most wonderful game under the sun. Well, it really is. And let me say to you, it gives you, it makes you humble. It makes you so humble. But it also gives you some joy when you hit one of those great shots. It's a wonderful thing. But the other part of it, you really do cut deals on golf courses. Because if you've got a business person that you want to meet with, or any person you want to meet with, golf takes about 4.5 hours to play 18 holes. If you get that person on the golf course for 4.5 hours and you can't convince them of what it is you want to convince them, then maybe there's something wrong with your tactics. So you need to rethink how you're doing that. But it's a wonderful thing. Learn to play golf. And when my oldest daughter started college, she went to Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida. And she was in the School of Business and Industry. At the time, Sybil Mobley was the dean of the School of Business and Industry. She was known nationwide for being able to pull in major businesses to support those young people in her school and to get internships from young people all over the country once they graduated, once they were juniors, to be able to get further in their business world. But one of the things that you had to do, if you were going to be in the School of Business and Industry at Florida A&M, you had to either take golf or tennis. Because she said the deals are made in the country clubs, at the golf course, and on the tennis courts. And you need to be conversant in those two sports so that you too can be able to cut deals. Interesting concept, isn't it? But it's so very, very true. So very, very true. And so my daughter took golf. How about that? And she learned enough to be able to cut the deals on the golf course. And she has done very, very well with that. She has done very, very well. Congratulations, Madam Alicia Bell Young, who is the chairperson of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners and the former president of the National Association of Black County Officials. So, yeah, congratulations. But she learned to cut some deals, and she learned it from Sybil Mobley, School of Business and Industry at Florida A&M University. I mean, there were things such as when she was going to be a freshman, the summer she graduated from high school, she got a huge packet from the university that said, these are the magazines you need to be reading over the summer, so that when you come to us in August, you will be prepared. You will know what's going on in the business world. She got something that said, you cannot wear 3-inch heels in this environment. You cannot wear big hoop earrings in this environment. You must have a pair of pearl earrings to wear. You cannot wear all sorts of gold around your neck. You can wear a nice pearl necklace. You must have some nylons because you will be looking at like a business person. You must have at least 1 or 2 suits. They cannot be red, pink, or yellow. They must be brown, blue, or gray. It was quite an education and an eye opener, and it was great. It was great because I went down. I'm mother, and she was in Florida, and I was in Michigan. And I was at the time working at Michigan Bell, in Meritech by then. And I said, I'm sure there must be some business I need to take care of in Florida. So I took a trip to Florida, and I went to the School of Business and Industry, and I saw my child and hardly recognized her because there she was in this lovely gray suit with these heels and these nylons with her briefcase. And I said, well, I'll be doggone. Look at this. College does make a difference. Knowledge matters, but there must be someone who is able to transport that knowledge into young people. And so Sybil Mobley became the speaker at Michigan Bell. We used to have something called MAP, Minority Advisory Council for Michigan Bell. And she became one of our honorees and our speaker at our MAP dinner because I said that, we have to get this lady, guys. You don't know what she's doing with those young people down there in Florida. She's getting them internships. She's got major businesses all over the country who are supporting this organization and supporting this School of Business and Industry. And she came and spoke to the MAP group. She was excellent. She was absolutely excellent. She spoke to the managers and employees at Michigan Bell Telephone Company in this huge dinner we had at Cobo Hall every year. It was an incredible event, and she was our guest speaker. And so, Sybil Mobley, congratulations to you for helping young people, and thank you for helping those young people, including my daughter and many of her friends who attended Florida A&M University. You done good. It was a great experience. But we got on this talking about golf. Then let me go back to golf. So I play golf. I play with some wonderful ladies. But I'm going back to the weather that says I don't like playing golf in cold weather. I just don't. I just don't. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, doggone, golf is so expensive. Well, yes and no. Because if it's something you like to do, it really isn't that expensive because we always make room for those things that we want to do. We make room for those things. If you think it's cheap, it's not cheap because you got to have golf shoes and you got to have golf clubs and you got to have golf balls and golf gloves and all those kinds of things. You do the initial investment might be a little bit, but once you make that initial investment, it really isn't that bad to play golf courses. That can be a little bit pricey, but there are golf courses that are not as expensive. You've got Rouge Park Golf Course that's run by the city of Detroit on the west side. You've got Chandler Park Golf Course that's run by the city of Detroit on the east side. And you've got other golf courses that are run by municipalities throughout the area that are not that expensive. You've got Inkster Valley Golf Course that's run by the county. You've got Warren Valley Golf Course that used to be run by the county that's now run by the city of Dearborn Heights. There are golf courses in Taylor, and there are golf courses all over the place. Farmington Hills. You've got 9-hole golf courses, Beechwood and Southfield. So you've got lots of golf courses around that are not as expensive if you want to really learn to play golf and have some fun. So you might have to spend a few more pennies to play golf, but it's well worth it. Believe me, it is well worth it. And the neat part about golf, you can play as long as you want. You can play as long as you want because it's the kind of sport that helps you stay healthy. You can walk the course or you can ride the course. There are people who play golf into their 80s and 90s. And it's such a wonderful way to exercise. And you don't have to play 18 holes. You can play 9 holes. 9 holes will take you about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But it's a way to stay connected with people. And it's a way to keep your health going without exerting a lot of energy. And it's a fun thing to do. But I say it's great exercise. I've run into some the best people I've ever met. I've met on the golf course, and you can play it all over the world. You've heard me say this before. I like cruises, and so I go on cruises. But when I go on my cruises, I also play golf. They will schedule the golf at a course for me nearby. They'll have somebody come to the dock, pick me up, take me to the golf course. I'll rent my golf clubs at whatever course that is. When I'm done, they bring me back to the boat. I love it. And I played in Jamaica and the Bahamas and all Dominican Republic, all over the place. I've played golf, and you can do it. It's a wonderful way to enjoy yourself when you're on a trip. And so some of you take the advantage, learn to play just for the heck of it. Learn to play. And I think you will be so very, very pleased if you do. And golf is the kind of thing you can do by yourself. You don't have to have somebody be with you. I've played golf many a day by myself. At least I start out by myself. And when I get to the golf course, there's always somebody there who will partner up with you, and you meet such neat people on the golf course. I met a couple. Um, I can't remember which cruise I was on, but I met a couple uh, who were from North Dakota, and we had a great time on the golf course. So you don't. If you think you need to have somebody with you to play golf, you don't. It's fun if you do, but you don't have to. I've gone out many a day all by myself just because I wanted to get some exercise in and wanted to get a little practice in. And you can do that with golf. So don't think that you've got to have somebody to play with you when you're going to play golf. You just don't have to. And you don't have to be real good. Take it from me. If you had seen me when I first started to play golf, you would have thought, who is this woman and why is she out here? But I learned. I learned to play golf at Palmer Park Golf Course that no longer exists. And I'm so sorry because it was a great little golf course at the corner of Woodward and 7 Mile. It was a city owned golf course. It was a great course. I went to Palmer Park and played golf. I learned to play golf at the Belle Isle Golf Course. Belle Isle had a wonderful little 9-hole golf course. And many of us who play golf learned to play golf at the Belle Isle Golf Course. It was the neatest little place. They had golf carts. They had a little snack bar there. You could have a little snack. It was a great spot. I'm just so sorry that it isn't open anymore because it really was a neat place. And that's where I learned to play golf. I would go out to the Belle Isle Golf Course by myself. They had a little stream out there with this cute little covered bridge. And I don't know how many balls I hit in that water. And I'm telling you, it's not like it was a big stream. It might have been 10 feet wide. It might have been 10 feet wide. But I couldn't get over the golf. I stood there and I said, I'm going to stand here until I put this ball over this 10 feet, this 10 feet of water. And I finally did after losing about 7 or 8 balls, but I finally got it over. I did it. But golf is such a wonderful, wonderful, friendly game. And, you don't Belle Isle, rather Palmer Park Golf Course, owned by the city of Detroit, was a great little spot. And Palmer Park was right across the street from the famous Detroit Golf Club, where the Rocket Mortgages played, and the Detroit Golf Club are right there in Palmer Park. And you need to know that at the Detroit Golf Club, Mayor Coleman Alexander Young was the first African American to be admitted to play golf at that golf course. No other Black folk had ever played there. But Mayor Coleman Alexander was the first person to be a member of that golf club. And he didn't even play golf, but he was a member of the golf course. And now there are lots and lots of folks who look like us, who play golf there, who are in leadership there, who are doing all sorts of wonderful things and making that a place that all Detroiters can be proud of and feel welcomed in. So it's a great place to be. Golf is a good thing. I want you guys to think about that. And then the last thing I'm going to say to you, the Cass Tech girls or the Cass golf team, we don't have golf teams in Detroit. That's terrible. So I want us to support those young ladies. There's a team at Renaissance and there's a team at Cass Tech. Well, my grandkids are at Cass Tech, so I'm talking about Cass Tech. Okay, I'm a little partial to Cass Tech because my children went there too. But they are looking for any support they can get. So think about supporting that Cass Tech girls golf team. And if you have some gently used golf shoes, let me know because they need them. I just found a whole box of golf shoes. Now, one of the things you will notice about golf is that you got to have the right outfit. You got to have some nice outfits. I'm just saying, you got to look the part. You got to look the part. So when I was really in my prime and playing golf, I had a pair of shoes to match every outfit. And I found those shoes in my storage unit and I said to myself, why do I still need all these shoes? I don't do that as much as I used to in terms of having to match up everything. Well, it's got to match, but I don't have to have all those different kinds. So I found about 15 pair of golf shoes. I said, okay, I'm going to give these to the girls' golf team at Cass Tech. So if any of you have any of those, let me know, and I'll pick them up. So just leave a message here at the station. We'll pick them up because we've got some young girls who really want to. And in starting out, especially for young girls, teenagers, it can be expensive for those parents. So, by the time you get all of that, and golf shoes are not cheap. Just let me say that they are not cheap. So let's help out that girls' golf team. All right. My story is about golf. How about that? We've got a special guest today, too. I know you were wondering who the special guest was as I went on and on about golf, but I had to tell you my golf stories. And I've got some more golf stories I'll tell you another time. But today we're going to go to our special guest. Our special guest today is the Honorable Sylvia Santana, State Representative representing the west side of Detroit and Dearborn Heights. We're always happy to have Sylvia with us. Hello, Sylvia. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon to the listening audience and Edna Bell. It's good to see you all.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm going to tell a little bit of Sylvia's private business. She had to pick her car up today. Now, mind you, her car has been in the shop for 3 weeks. As for those of you who know what's going on when you need a car part, it is not pretty when you got to have your car repaired. It takes a long time. So 3 weeks is good, Sylvia.
Yes, even with a strike going on. So I'm happy that my parts came in.
Yes. And that is a good news. We're glad you were able to get your car fixed. We're glad you were able to join us. But I've asked Sylvia to come and talk to us today about an event that we're planning that we would love to have some of our listening audience attend. It was before the pandemic, so it wasn't 2019 was our first event, Sylvia?
Yes.
There's a group that we started called Black Women in Michigan Politics. And Sylvia and myself and the clerk of Superior Township, Lynette Finley, thought we need to do something specifically for Black women to talk about politics and how they can help each other and the kinds of things that are important to them and to our communities. And so we started this organization, Black Women in Michigan Politics, had our first event in 2019 in October. And the next thing we know, COVID hit. And so we didn't have another event until last year. And now we have our event coming up this year in October. Sylvia, talk to us about Black Women in Michigan Politics and your views on that.
Absolutely. So Black Women in Michigan Politics is a nonpartisan organization. So that means that no matter what party affiliation you are affiliated with, we accept you. So Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, it does not matter. Our goal here in the state of Michigan is to make sure that Black women have a platform, a space, and the opportunity to engage each other, not only annual, but throughout the year on issues that matter to our community. So it's not only about like being a state senator, but also from each area of governance, whether you're at the local level all the way to the federal level. We want to make sure that we're able to elevate each other, to learn from each other, to sharpen each other. Oftentimes it's incumbent upon us to be in spaces where we might be the only Black woman who's at the table and advocating for issues that matter to our communities. And so this is a way for us to mentor each other, guide each other, and be available to one another. And so back in 2019, as mentioned before, we started this great organization. And surprisingly, the attendance was just as it is today. It was a full house of women. So we had at our first inaugural event, almost over 160 people. And, we had a great panel to talk about issues that matter to us. And that's how we've been moving forward with this organization, talking about the issues that matter, especially at the time. So this year, upcoming event that we're having on October 13th at the Washtenaw Community College, the Morris Lawrence building, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., we'll be talking about environmental justice.
And I know sometimes people say, well, environmental justice, what does that have to do with Black women in Michigan politics or Black women, period? And do know that it has a lot to do with us, the mothers of the community, the business people in the community, the environment and how it relates to us is so important because our children have so much asthma, more asthma than in any other group of people, because there are many times environmentally unfriendly businesses that are located in our communities much more than in other communities. So talk about that environmental piece, Sylvia, and how we chose that.
Absolutely. So obviously through the federal government, there are so many infrastructure dollars that are going out now, and also dollars for reducing carbon emissions and other environmental friendly policies that will help to support our communities, especially communities of color, where we see that some of these issues that we see on the ground with emissions and air quality and water affordability, all those areas that really impact the entire country definitely impact the urban centers and Black community on a higher level. And so this year we've decided to touch on this area from all the way from the federal level to the local level, and invite women, Black women who are in this space, to be able to talk about these issues that matter to us. So, for example, we have from the state of Michigan in our Eagle department, it will have Regina Strong, who is a great advocate for environmental justice in our state. We also will have Rose Dottie, who's on the federal level, who works for the Department of Energy, to come and talk about some of the great policies that they're doing on the federal level that people are aware of, but we want to make sure that our communities are aware of as well. And also, we'll have,
Stop right there, Sylvia, because sometimes I don't think people are as aware of these as we are. We deal with we hear it all the time. We're around people all the time who know it. But I think sometimes people are not as aware of this as we are. So talk about, for one thing, what does EAGLE stand for?
yes. Oh my gosh, Environmental Great Lakes. Oh, I'm gonna have to get back with you on that. We are such an acronym state, I tell you.
I know that people don't know, but it's the state level environment department that regulates water and air and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you. And permitting processes for different businesses and things of that nature. Thank you. It's funny you asked me this, because I had this question the other day too. I'm like, it's EAGLE to me. But absolutely, I'll be glad to get that information for you. But I think what's most important too is that also we were talking about, the environmental issues at this conference, from not only the health aspects, but also from the business aspects. So we have invited Natalie King, who is the CEO of Dunamis Clean Energy, to come and talk about how her company works to help with environmental charging stations and other areas of being able to be in that space of EV vehicles and supporting our communities, and how that looks for us and how that shows up for us in our in as far as what she does as a business person. So we do have a lot of great speakers coming, and we will definitely have a great, robust conversation on this issue. But I think more importantly for the listening audience, it is important for them to know just how much resources are coming to our state that are around this issue. So when you look at the state of Michigan, each county will actually receive dollars that are designated to them from the federal level, but they have to come up with a plan of how they will restructure their environments in the specific counties to help support, charging stations and infrastructure that impacts our communities and help support that environment. But we are going to receive almost $16.8 billion just for the state of Michigan. And so all of that is really relevant to making sure that, especially in communities that disproportionately are impacted by the environment, that those dollars definitely get to us to be supported in those areas where typically those dollars do not get expended.
And you mentioned charging stations, and sometimes people don't know what that means. Charging stations mean, for electric cars, you've got to have some place to plug it in.
Yeah.
And that's what a charging station is. And if you live in Detroit, where let's see, how can I put it? The Detroit Edison building is, and there is a park there. The name of it is escaping me now, but it's a park right on Grand River, just before you get to Cass. There's this wonderful park that Edison built there. It's just awful. I can't think of the name of it. Okay, listen,
Beacon Park.
Beacon Park. Thank you. Beacon Park, and if you drive around Beacon Park on one area along the street, there are charging stations that Detroit Edison has put up to plug your car in if you have an electric car and let your car be charged so that you can continue to drive it. And I noticed something else for the first time. Motor City Casino in their parking garage over where the valet is has charging stations in their garage. And I thought, well, that's it. I've not seen that till recently. So I think it's good that other businesses may want to consider doing that same thing. But that's a major issue because a charging station is a gas station for electric cars. So for those of you trying to figure out what that is, charging stations are gas stations for electric cars. And that's why many people have not bought them because there are not enough charging stations.
Well, it's interesting you touch on that topic. My electric in my house went out the other day on one side of the house. We
Oh.
were trying to fix a switch, and my husband recognized that the electrical wiring that was done on this house is pretty old. And so we actually had an electrician out today to fix it.
Mhm.
But what he said was interesting to me as a lawmaker. Obviously, we're always having our ears peeled. And I'm thinking about, what we're doing as far as, trying to reduce emissions, get more individuals on electrical vehicles in our state. But one of the things that I think is not being talked about yet is how, these older homes that are built back in 1950s or even before
40s.
40s as well, they're
Yeah.
not equipped to deal with the infrastructure of a charging station. So most people are on like 100, I think at 10 watts or something like that, as far as just the wattage in their home. But most people today, when you have the newer build homes, are on 244 watts or something in their home, which could actually work with the new charging stations. But these older model homes are not equipped currently to support that type of need in the community. And so it got me to thinking that as we're having this conversation around renewable energies and also around, more people getting EV vehicles, this is something that's going to become a part of the legislative conversation in Lansing. How do we help support families or people with older homes being able to be supported when it comes to buying these newer electrical vehicles? And that has to be at the forefront of the conversation as we think about infrastructure.
That is such a good point you make. And not just the electric vehicles, but just being able to maintain electricity in your home these days. Many of these houses need upgraded electrical parts, electricity, however I'm not sure what that means, but I know the homes need to be upgraded. And a lot of these homes are older. There are older people living in them. They can't afford to have that electrical system in their home upgraded to what today's standards are. And so hopefully there'll be something that will be able to help them get those homes upgraded, because I still think that part of a lot of the out- outages we have are due to homes not being at a level that's high enough to sustain some of the problems that come when there are storms. So if some of those homes were higher in the terms of the electrical outlets, they might not go out as often.
Absolutely. And it's costly. I mean, he gave us a quote of $4,800 just to upgrade our system. So that's
Woo.
with electrical paneling, new wiring, even upgrading the air conditioner unit outside to make sure that it's on the internal electrical box. So if you imagine on average, we're in a bungalow home, 800 square feet. So that's an average home in the city of Detroit,
Mhm.
in most neighborhoods and most communities. So if the average person has to pay $4,800 to get those upgrades, that's a significant amount of people's budgets. And
Absolutely.
so that's something that definitely we have to figure out with all of the infrastructure dollars that are coming to our state. How do we best service those individuals who may need those modifications to help with any power outages or just being up to code for today's standards.
Exactly. And if we're going to want people to have more electrical cars, you're right. We've got to find ways that they can do it, plug it in at their house somehow. I don't know how that happens, but maybe it's a community plug-in. Maybe some of our parks in the area. We've got so many parks in Detroit and in the metropolitan area. Maybe you could put charging stations at some of those parks to make it a lot more convenient for communities to buy electric cars because they know there's some place that they can charge. Because if I get a car and I know there's no charging station within a 10-mile radius of where I live, that's not going to encourage me to get one when I've got 25 gas stations within a 10-mile radius. And so it won't be encouraging. So we need to find ways to put those charging stations in places that are more convenient for people if we're going to expect them to buy electric cars.
Absolutely. So yes, but we are super excited to unpack this conversation at our conference this year. I'm definitely excited because we have so many great women who are in this space to be able to unpack that conversation, whether it become from the health perspective or the actual economic perspective and just the environmental justice pieces. We will definitely cover all of those areas with those experts at the table at our panel. And so it's just a great opportunity to continue to have this discussion.
Absolutely. I am so excited about this year's luncheon. It's going to be a great, great luncheon. And people might say, well, why is it in Washington County? Because it's a statewide presentation and we needed to put it someplace that was easy, well, not easy, as convenient for people to get to as we could. And so, yeah, we've got lots of places in Detroit and Wayne County we could have done it, but we're on the south end of the state. We needed to find a way to help people come from all over the state. And that's why we have held it in Washington County, because it's helps other folks get to the location besides those of us in Wayne County getting there. But talk about some of the other people who will be on the panels.
Yeah, so we actually have to also have, as I mentioned before, Rose Dottie, who currently works for the Department of Energy, who also will be a part of the discussion to talk about just briefly some of those infrastructure dollars that are coming to our state and the various programs that President Biden has put in place for Michigan, so and other states as well, but definitely be able to talk about that from the clean energy standpoint. We also will have Dr. Janae Kundrum. I can't get her last name right, but she's from the University of Michigan, and I apologize if I pilfered her name. But she will also be talking about this conversation from the healthcare perspective. So how does the environment impact our communities? When you think today, it's amazing. Kids don't go outside to play as much as they typically have done, in the past because they're scared to go outside. And so, oftentimes, or the safety issues, or there's this illusion that there's not safety in their communities, but that is impacting kids where they become, from an obesity standpoint, maybe they're spending more time on screen time versus actual playtime. Talking about, you mentioned earlier our air quality here in Michigan, or in southeastern Michigan specifically, the asthma rates, how that's impacting our communities from the environmental standpoint. And those are all discussions that matter to making sure that we have a robust conversation in that area. Water affordability is another area. Water affordability and water as a human right is a conversation that has to happen amongst policymakers. And I think that's also going to help support just that robust conversation that we're going to see from the healthcare perspective. So I think that's wonderful that we're able to bring so many experts to the table to talk about these issues.
Absolutely. And what is the date of the luncheon?
Yes, it's Friday, October the 13th. So Friday the 13th.
Which is going to be a good day for us because we're going to have all these beautiful women in one room on one accord talking about things that impact all of us in our families. So Friday the 13th, 11?
From 11 to 1:30. Absolutely. And you can get, if you're interested in attending, you can get your tickets at blackwomeninmichiganpolitics.com. We have a great website that highlights all of the great things that we're doing.
Wonderful. blackwomeninmichiganpolitics.com. Go to that site, get your ticket. We usually have a wonderful luncheon. We have a wonderful group of women who talk about things that impact all of us. And as we said, it's not Democrats, it's not Republicans, it's not the Green Party, it's not Liberal, it's everybody, because this impacts all of us. Doesn't matter what your political persuasion is. If the air isn't good, nobody's asking you if you're a Democrat or a Republican. So everybody needs to be involved in this. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for being with us. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. After the luncheon, we're going to have you come back to talk about what happened at the luncheon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody. See you next Monday. Community Bell Show, 4:00. Don't miss it. You'll miss some wonderful information.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Congratulations to WVTC Gospel Radio, as they are again the recipients of the 2023 Stellar Award for Best Internet Radio Station of the Year. Many thanks to our viewers. Keep watching as we are winning victories through Christ.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.